So, yesterday, evening Australian, morning our time, Scotland lost 70. 4-6 against New Zealand. And it's not even a good New Zealand side. We know that England won against Lebanon. The Aussies won against France. Samoa and Tonga had a good game. But that result, Jesus, not good. And it leads me on to a response from a previous video that I did on the Rugby League World Cup, whereby someone commented, a viewer commented, that it just shows up the gap between NRL, Super League, and how the players that we get from the NRL either are near the end of their careers or they haven't quite cracked their first team in NRL competition, and they're not quite the top level player. But our players going over there, the opposite. We're sending good players over there, and we're getting not so good players back. And I agree, and I've stated that in a video as well. But I need to say, this just highlights the gap between NRL, Super League. The defeat is worse than the defeat they had last weekend, and they weren't even playing in a tropical climate. They had obviously gone out to Cairns or Townsville, wherever it was, and it was 80% humidity, just below 30 degrees Celsius. Of course, if they're all based over here, they've been used to autumn weather towards the end of the season, 15, 16, possibly 20 degrees if they're lucky on a warm day. Cold and wet, not hot and warm, and humid. So there's that to contend with. But now the second game, they were down in New Zealand, which is more like here. Because it's their spring or autumn, so its weather conditions are pretty changeable, pretty similar. And you would think they would adapt better. No. Nope. Not even close. And it's not even a good New Zealand side they're playing. The New Zealand side is coming into this World Cup on the back of a few incidents of ill discipline with some of their key players. Kenny Bromwich, Jesse Bromwich, Kevin Proctor, and Sean Cadell all getting suspended and dropped due to allegations of impropriety using recreational drugs. And they weren't banned by anti-doping authorities, they were caught out in various police operations, so it's not under testing rules, so they don't get lengthy bans, but they get bans nonetheless. So that has put issue on the national side. Also, certain players have chosen to represent Tonga or Samoa, places like that, or Fiji, and so it's not the strongest or best New Zealand side that Scotland could have faced. Bearing in mind, this time last year they held to an 18-all draw in the Four Nations. So to go from 18-all to losing 74-6, something has gone seriously wrong. I know players are missing due to injury, illness, or suspension, and we're not going to go into could they change the game? Probably not. Not even in the slightest. The score will be very similar. So they are missing some key players. That's a chance for other players that have been brought in to step up and show that they're good enough. Had New Zealand kicked all their kicks, it would have been an even bigger scoreline. If they got all their conversions and penalties, it would have been a bigger scoreline. So they were lucky that it was only what it was. I beggars belief, really. I don't think Scotland will win a game in this tournament. They were hoping to get through to the quarterfinals and win at least one of their games. They've got to play Samoa next, and they're going to be annoyed with their two defeats, albeit close defeats. The two really good sides in Tonga and New Zealand. I say that. So yeah, they looking like they're not getting out of this group. And it's really worrying that they're not going to get out of the group. Because this is why we don't have a Great Britain side anymore in Rugby League, or we haven't had a Great Britain side for over a decade. And that's because the Super League is slipping back slowly but surely. It's getting less and less competitive compared to the NRL. in the NRL, yes, you got the certain teams that are always near the top, but if the Newcastle Knights and Canberra Raiders can win the top grade at some point, and they're not classed as the marquee sides, anything is possible. So it's a more competitive environment in Australia. I will say that the playing quality is better, and this highlights this. The England result against Lebanon was disjointed and stuttering, but the England side won. And that's not to discredit Lebanon, because they've got a mix of full professionals and semi-professionals, and that's not to discredit them. However, the Lebanese looked far more comfortable on the ball. Yes, they had less possession, but their numbers in the second half, it was a very tight second half, and it only came down to a conversion and a drop goal, so 3 points in that second half. That is not good enough if you're aiming to get the World Cup final or win the World Cup. Not good enough. Again, highlighting the issue with the fact that half the team are from the NRL, half the team from the Super League. Fine, you can select the best players available. But then when you don't use one of your best players effectively in Ryan Hall, because his centre next to him on his right hand side is really a forward, and not a specialist centre, when you have a specialist centre in the squad and not use him, that brings into question, are you using your best players or players in certain positions effectively? And it doesn't help that the coach is a club coach in Australia. I guess Wayne Bennett is probably the best coach the world has ever seen, but he coaches Brisbane full time in Australia in the NRL. So he will not see a lot of these Super League players play throughout the entire season. I'm going to leave that there because Wales have got played again yet today in their next fixture. Or they have played, and the highlights will be on shortly. So I'm going to leave that there. Let the games all be played today, and then tomorrow I'll do a complete roundup of all the action. But this Scotland defeat against an average, I mean, they're not a bad New Zealand side, they've got some good players, but against an average New Zealand side that are missing some key players, key leaders, that is just diabolical. Something's gone seriously wrong in 12 months to go from holding them to a draw to losing by that big a gap. And something's gone seriously off. And this ain't going to help grow the game outside the north of England either. That's another problem with Super League. They don't seem to want to encourage the game to grow outside of the traditional Lancashire, Yorkshire, Cheshire area in the north of England. They don't. They seem reluctant to want to grow the game because this is where we have a lack of depth as well. A lack of talented depth in positions across the field. So if certain players go down, do we have the player to step up to win a game or be available for selection? Please like and subscribe, please leave your comments below, and I'll have another video for you later today.